jobs this and jobs that. I don't give a damn about no jobs. People don't need no jobs. I'm gonna tell you what people need, huh? People need money. Lots and lots of money. That's why the only jobs I'm gonna create are gonna be down at the mint. That's right. We gonna print so much damn money, I'm gonna give every single American $1 million. Ain't gonna be no more 1%. Everybody's gonna be million percenters. And then everybody gonna be rich. And nobody gonna have any more problems. And you ain't gotta worry about no damn health care or nothing. And then we gonna have a big ass party with all us millionaires.
G'day everybody, and welcome to the happy hour. G'day Base Radiant and True Blue, and to the chat and everyone out there. How's it all going on a Friday Arvo?
Yeah, it's good.
Going off to a good start.
For a scotch. And yeah, it's been a hectic week. I can't believe how much went down in this last week. Like, you know, this Japanese carry trade thing.
Roller coaster.
Yes, it's been emotional, I have to say.
Yeah.
But look, it's all back on now, and that whole Japanese carry trade sort of catalyst that sort of started that you know, cascading liquidations and all of that stuff has sort of played out now, and it looked like it's sort of all recovered, and bull run sort of continues.
We are so back.
So back. Yeah.
Back, at least. We'll see what goes on in the election. I don't want to like get political, but we'll see what happens in
get political, bro. It's been crazy. Donald Trump Jr., one of them had some sort of announcement that he was going to do basically launch a shitcoin, and then someone front run that, and then it sounds like a whole bunch of people got scammed because I don't know, they didn't like check the contract address, or it hasn't launched. So yeah, that was pretty hectic.
Yeah, nice.
I reckon them making a new coin is not the right way to go. You know, I reckon it would be nice if they got behind something that already exists, or just kept endorsing Bitcoin or Ethereum or something like that. Obviously, we'd love them to jump onto PulseChain or something, but I don't like the likelihood of that at the moment. But yeah, just endorsing something that's already around. Like, what are they going to build it on? Solana or something? You know, it's just
Jeetsville. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Because didn't Donald Trump Jr. Said something about that he was a fan of Richard Hart? But then it turned out that his account got hacked or something.
Yeah, that's right. That was a while ago now. Hey, so.
But doesn't he follow him on Twitter though? I thought he follows him. That I think is legit.
I think that is legit. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's at least aware of Richard Hart. Yeah.
Lols.pls made like a fake news thing about the meeting with Donald Trump and Elon Musk having Richard Hart with them, sort of thing. The one that's coming up on Monday, and so that caught people out a little bit as well. It was pretty funny.
That should be really interesting, to see what. Yeah. And amazing that, you know, in this day and age with, you know, the freedom of speeches getting sort of censored left, right, and center, that on X he can just come out and have this awesome sort of discussion. So yeah, I'll be tuning in for that on Monday for sure.
I think it'll be good. and what we found out today, hey, that you have to be verified on X now to do that sort of stuff. So it just for everyone else out
stream.
there.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that's
really?
stitched me. I'm not verified.
You need like how verified? Like a driver's license ID?
No, I don't know. You have to pay. You have to pay whatever that fee is.
Right. Yeah.
But look, good thing True Blue's verified, so we're streaming to his one today.
Thank you.
Yeah, Doz has hacked me. Yeah,
that's it. I had access, so I just went straight in. Just say g'day to the chat here. So g'day, Clintrons. Good evening for him, and happy Friday Down Under crew. Checking in early. Have to catch up on the replay. I understand that. I do that sometimes. Thanks for saying hello. At least that's good. And UFO to go, my man.
UFO,
he was on the Sydney cruise and all the meetups, and he's good value. High expectations. We are most certainly live. G'day, Claz. How you going? What else is going on here? High expectations. Let's go. I like the spirit. Yes. Oi, oi. Red Squirrel. Good morning. He's probably on his way to work. But yeah.
Hey, it's just before you get into it, I just wanted to say that UFO. He got me and my wife home that night. When everything went to crap with the kebabs that turned out to be falafel. So
the great falafel incident. Yes.
Yeah. I know we always go back to that, but he ended up taking us to the train station, telling us where to go, when to get off, and it was like the last train, and so all three of us are like running to the train station. And then he's like, "Do you have a card?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, no, like we're not from here, so I don't have a card or anything for the train." So he throws me a card. He's like, "Go in the gate, and then when you get through the gate, chuck it back over the gate to me." And we're like, so he saved us a lot that night. It was bloody awesome.
That's
he
awesome.
got us home safely. So we love UFO.
But it's a bear marker. He didn't say keep the card. He said throw it back.
Yeah, we weren't at all-time highs, that's for sure.
That's right. There's still at least a couple of bucks on that card.
It's gold.
So now look, there's been so much news that's been happening, and part of it, I think, people have been talking about that this could have been a bit of a bear trap, in the lead up to what could be a bit of a bull run going into like a Santa rally, like Christmas, sort of towards Easter. I mean, we talked about that last week. Oh, look, there is Jexa.
Hey, guys.
Hey, how you going there, buddy?
Yeah, good. I've got a bit of an audio problem. Just give me a second.
No worries. Yeah. Sort your stuff out, and when you're ready, and I'll just bring up a couple of links and stuff here. But yeah, so there was that Donald Trump thing, that Donald Trump Jr. I think it sounds like he's keen on shaking up, DeFi and all this stuff. It's like, I like this hexologist. Just buy hex, bro. Don't bother trying to
rocket science.
Yeah. Because there's a certain amount of hubris there, I think, where celebrities sort of come into the space and they just go, "Oh, I'm just going to revolutionize it." Like that Scottie Pippen thing last week, where he's like, first there was Satoshi and then there was Scottie Pippen. And
like they've changed the game by launching an ERC20. Like, it's so revolutionary and just like blows everyone out of the water.
Yeah. I don't think we're not easily impressed by that shit. So
not anymore. Anyway, you're like 10 years too late.
Exactly.
Do you think it's a bit odd that they're talking about launching DeFi projects already, like Eric Trump?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I assume they're just trying to raise like capital for their political campaign. Like, so I can't imagine it's a good like long-term investment.
But it's probably good, because they're going to want the laws to be on their side for doing that sort of stuff. So I'll take that as a win.
That's a good point. Yeah, because they did all those NFTs, didn't they? That you could get into some of their dinners and things. I wonder if they're going to do like a assassination, attempt, Donald Trump, that image where he's doing the fight thing. Maybe they'll just NFT.
That's a guaranteed, isn't it? I don't know who owns it.
That's probably already been done, like not by Donald Trump, but like just people.
Yeah, no doubt.
How are you, Base Radio? I don't think we've ever met anyway, have we?
I don't know. Like on the periphery, I think we've like been close.
Cross paths.
Cross paths.
At some point.
Yeah. In the same community.
Awesome. No, it's good to have you on, Jexa. It's good to have some the OGs and stuff on as well. I know Base Radiant's been around for a long time as well, so it's good to have you guys on. But yeah, we sort of encourage people to come on and because we, we've all got stuff to do, so it's nice to sort of be able to share the love and have a bit of a decentralized sort of community going on with these streams.
Yeah. You and True Blue have been holding the fort for a while, so that's good.
Yeah, we've done it 49 weeks in a row, so
really?
That's pretty good.
It's nearly the year. So and of course,
a few more to 52.
Excuse me, and 43 has been awesome as well. I think he's coming on later. So
hey, while I just want to. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. While you're on that, talking about the streaming and other people getting involved, I just wanted to say quickly about the stuff that's been going on, like with Matty Allen. He's been copping a bit of grief from people, and I know there's some questionable stuff going on with these meme coins and whatever. But anyone that's like having a chop at him, I reckon they should try and jump on and do like 3.5 years straight of streaming. Not missing a week, just putting down stuff all the time and helping build the community, put on, all the shows he does and all that, those people should jump on and have a stream with us or with someone else and, start manning up to it. Cause I just think it's crazy having cheap.
Yeah, it's easy for
work yourself,
armchair critics to sort of,
I don't sort of get too involved in all the shenanigans on Twitter because I'd just be at it all day otherwise. But, am I right? Is Camel Clan a thing, or is that just taking the piss?
The way I sort of see this, right? So keep in mind that the DeFi Down Under crew, we're like Switzerland, right? So we're like neutral zone. So we don't give a fuck, all right? So this is Switzerland here. You guys can come in and we don't care. We don't have any bias or prejudice or whatever, because I like the Tang Gang and I like the guys. I think they're hilarious. And we had Fast Abdul on the other day, and he's a really nice guy. He's like he's a champion, and he sounds like he's been around for a long time. And I like listening to the Cabana Happy Hour, and you got Dylan and Buck and those guys on there. I think they've got a lot of insights as well. I know the Tang Gang hate those guys, but then you kind of think, well, who doesn't that Tang Gang hate at some point? Like they start on I mean, some of the stuff is warranted. Like if they're like if they're having a go at people who are like genuinely scamming, but then it's so indiscriminate. They just seem to just have beef.
There's a lot of collateral damage, you reckon?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are probably just doing nothing. They're like, wait, what? I've got beef with the Tang.
It's pretty ruthless, sometimes. But so overall, they they seem to be pretty good. But yeah, back to your question, Jack. So the Camel Clan is like a thing. I'm not like endorsing it by talking about it, but yeah, it's basically. It is to like take the piss in a way, but it's also a thing on 2Fucks where they're going to start giving rewards in different meme tokens as well as your normal rewards. So you're just going to get like airdrop like stuff as if you're providing or staking on there and doing LP and
so that's like healthy. That's healthy competition.
Yeah.
That's like healthy competition though, right? Like, so if you have free mint Fridays for Tang Gang, and then it's like if these Camel Clan want to do some sort of NFT Thursdays or whatever, that's fine. There's still like another 5 days in the week for other people to do.
Yeah, no one's got an exclusivity on anything. It's permissionless chain. You get on and do what you want.
It's good stuff.
Exactly.
Honestly. Yeah,
and that's the thing is we might stream over the top of someone else, and then that's okay. I mean, they can watch us on replay or whatever. I don't really care about that stuff. If other people want to stream at the same time, like, it's all, I don't really have any problem.
Do you think just while we've been beaten down pretty bad in a bear market, do you think we're just in a bit of a scarcity mode at the moment, as opposed to a lot of the teams that could be working together are fighting over the scraps a little bit?
Yeah, so I think it's PvP mode for sure. So because there's a finite amount of liquidity sort of sloshing around, and so people are jumping from meme coins. You know, they're sort of, and particularly because meme coins aren't really like long-term holds, like historically. Don't come out
on Solana about 2 hours.
Yeah, they last about 2 hours exactly. so these guys will like jump, like hop from meme coin to meme coin, and that's maybe how they, you know, if they're trying to get 100x, right? Then they also say like, just keep the numbers simple. Like, so say you want to do like a 10x or something, you can either get a 2x like 5 times, or you can get a 5x twice. Like you know, depending on how many hops you want to do. And so, but then of course you could get stitched on the third hop and it just goes to 0. Whereas I think more with coins like say RH coins, like, you know, Hex, PulseChain, PulseX, these things, they're going to be around for the long term. So people, they don't mind riding out dips because they know that it'll come back eventually. So maybe that's a point of difference to meme coins. But yeah, in terms of that being like PvP, I think that's just like a symptom of the fact that there's not a lot of new like inflows of capital, like particularly like across the bridge, or, you know, there's not a lot of retail in the cycle yet. And then so people just form tribes, and then you get that scarcity mindset. But that'll change when there's more capital inflow.
The same thing's happening on ETH as well. I've been noticing just across Twitter the last couple of days. Obviously, the Soul guys are having a dig at the ETH boys, and they're talking about all the liquidity's been fractionalized across all the L2s and things like that. So it's the same thing. It's just a lack of, like you say, lack of new liquidity coming in, which I think hopefully
you get this sort of thing. ETH is dead.
Yeah, ETH is dead. Yeah, exactly right. So everyone's been
Crypto
piling
banter
on them. But when you actually look at the TVLs, like ETH is still one of the biggest TVLs.
It did like a 10% candle yesterday. Like it's not dead.
No, most of it's just clickbait. Let's face it.
The fees go up. The fees get ridiculous, but it's not.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem at the moment, is because there's not enough traffic flowing that it's now gone inflationary again, as opposed to prior it was deflationary because there was so much going on. But we just said, like, over the past week, we went from literally lower than 1 gwei up to 80 gwei instantly.
Yeah.
And everything turned to shit again, and it was too expensive to transact again. So that problem's still not solved.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. It's just it's a volume thing. And then you go from 2 gwei, and then once they get the traffic, everyone was dumping after that, the Japanese carry trade sort of exploded, and then the gwei was like 250 gwei. So
I've actually it's been nice. I've actually ended stakes that I thought I would never get a chance to end. I thought they're just going to be destroyed. So I've managed to get a few of those out, which was nice.
Yeah, it was really interesting because the market. So it happened after our stream on Friday, where the Japanese sort of carry trade thing exploded in the markets, and then it was right at the end of the trading sessions. So then, because the market's closed, they had the whole weekend for people just to stew over it.
Doing shit off on the closed market side of things. Yeah.
Exactly, the closed market, the OTC, all that stuff. And then so I'd actually sold a bit and sort of going into whatever it was the Saturday, and then I watched it sort of crash hard, and Monday was a bloodbath. Like, let's be honest, it was really bad. I think Bitcoin went down from whatever it was, 60K, or I think, and it went down to about 48K. And so, I picked up some as well, but I was watching that on Monday when the New York Stock Exchange opened, and I think it basically, like, the NASDAQ, I think it opened about 2.5% down. So because they have this discontinuity with their markets where it closed on a Friday, opens on a Monday, but it can open lower. And obviously they were looking for that number to see if it had opened, 5% low, it's like, holy shit, or if it had only opened like 1%, but then it obviously opened at 2.5 and everyone was like, okay, well, that's low enough for us to buy it back up. And then, so yeah, at that was pretty much the bottom, was right when that New York Stock Exchange opened on the Monday morning. It was like, 9 p.m. I think it was our time. So it was pretty hectic to watch that. And then also because of the impact that has on the economy, people were talking about the US having to, cut rates, doing an emergency meeting, even though it's like September, it's pretty much priced in that September they're going to cut rates. Yeah. But then they're talking about now we're going to have to do some quantitative easing.
No, they're not calling it that though, mate. They're calling it something else.
No. They call it something else. They don't actually do the money printer doesn't actually go burr.
Go on. Yeah. They're lending the money to themselves this time. It's all good. It's different.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a long-winded way of me trying to get to this point that the USA was about to launch a $50 billion treasury buyback program. So 8.5 billion in August, 31 billion September, 10 billion buyback in October. So this seems to me like they're trying to almost salvage the election for the Democrats by propping up the stock market with just liquidity.
Yeah,
I think it was.
Look, it was always going to have to happen, and I think you've just seen like how far did the Japanese move their interest rates before everything just went crazy like that. That was just a snippet, like a little inch up.
Yeah, like 0 to 0.25.
Set everything to meltdown. That's how tenuous everything is at the moment. So they're always going to have to do this. Would it have happened anyway? And because of the election, probably they all want to go in with a strong-looking economy. So I think it's just.
But doesn't that make you wonder, though? Is this not? Did they need an excuse to inject this liquidity? So they think, okay, well, I know that this carry trade thing exists, like with Japan, and everyone's borrowing at 0%, and then putting it in USD and buying stock, in the US. So then all we've got to do is get the Bank of Japan on side to crank it up. All these guys are going to get liquidated, and everyone's going to have to sell their stock, and then it's going to give us an excuse, almost like a false flag thing, where it's like it gives us the excuse to come in and then go, oh, now I need to pump all this money into the markets just before the election.
Yeah, so if you sound like a bit of a conspiracy theorist there, Elizabeth. I'm
just saying it's possible.
I was going to say, but while we've got our tinfoil hat on, I reckon you could argue that half the shit that's happened over the last 12 months with all the throwing the fuel onto Ukraine and Iran and everything, like they're just trying to stoke the fires on bloody everything so they can get the money printers going and have a reason to inject money into the economy. So that's if you really want to be a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, where does it end? I mean, there was a lot of stuff about Iran, Israel, and I know Lockheed Martin stocks were exploding.
Yeah. Right as everything went down, Lockheed Martin was like pumping, and we're like,
Buffett unloaded a whole. Yeah, Buffett went to cash right before it all happened.
Exactly.
You can't tell me there's not strings being pulled, or at least people in the know of what's going on. So.
Yeah, it does make you wonder. I think I've actually got that here. So this was Lockheed Martin the other day. So
yeah, I love this chart.
So
is there? I haven't even checked. Is there a Halliburton chart? That'd be interesting one to look at as well.
Yeah, bloody Dick Cheney.
I don't know what
that was very sus, wasn't it?
I don't know.
No, I think a lot of the defense stocks have been going a bit crazy, and then also when they liquidate. So my gut feeling as well is that a lot of the exchanges and whoever else is pulling the strings, they make a lot of money through liquidations. So they just want to dump it down, and obviously volume as well. But they just want to have these liquidation events where everyone just gets put offside, except for them because they're the ones that create it, right? And
if
then
they can see all the order books, yeah, that's dodgy as shit.
Yeah.
If you got someone that you can coordinate with and you can see everyone's where they've set all their limits and everything, that's easy money.
Yeah, because I was watching an old Richard Hart stream, as you do, and he was talking about, like, this is fairly old, and he was talking about this 200-day moving average crossing over the 50-day moving average. And he was saying that
200-day crossing over the 50. So you're
yes, it's like a death cross, I think.
Oh, death cross, yeah. So crossing down.
So we're actually heading into it now. So this is the 200-day in yellow. That's the 50, right?
Yeah, but go put it on a 1 week chart and.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but no. But my point is just that what in his stream, what he was talking about is that once they got the death cross, it went up 40% and then went down. So it's like everyone that was short just got insta-wrecked because they were like, oh, the death cross is coming up. Let's put all these short positions. And they just pumped it up 40% and then brought it back down. So it didn't really affect the price, but it just liquidated everyone.
Why are you doing that? I don't know if it'll work. I'm not sure if you got the right MAs, but
I
if you
can
go
put it on
one.
I can put it on the week or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what moving averages I had. I said I think it was a 25 and a 200. I think I had set up.
These are just simple SMAs that like 10, 20, 50, 200. But yeah, this death cross thing, I don't know. I'm not sold on it. It's only on the daily. Like if you go on the weekly, the 200 week moving average is way down here.
Yeah.
So I sort of look at it in terms of weekly, in terms of this is the 3 year mark that I was expecting it to sort of go above the previous all-time high, like around 70K around the 11th of November. So this is still within that sort of range and could sort of pump into this sort of thing. So for me, it seems like it's just
situation
par for the course. Yeah, par for the course. So yeah, what do you guys think? What base radium? What do you reckon about what's going on with the sort of global macro and Bitcoin kind of part of the cycle?
I think, yeah, it's pretty like chaos in terms of like macro, right? We have like a lot of things going on, like UK, Britain's not having a great time. No one's having a great time, really. Like now, there might be like the narrative, like it's money that you can escape persecution with. I don't know if that's really like, that's not why the price goes up. But like,
right.
I don't know. Okay. I think we'll have to see what plays out in the US election as well. I think that's going to be a strong thing because like 2 out of the 3 candidates, right? You've got Robert Kennedy Jr., I think that's his name, and Donald Trump, and then Kamala Harris. The RFK and Donald Trump have both been very favorable to like changing policy on crypto. Donald Trump said he'd get Gary Gensler out basically as soon as he could once he gets in. And like you saw that at the Bitcoin conference. So it'll be interesting. Maybe we'll see a huge dump if he doesn't get in. I don't know. Like people trying to buy the news, buy the rumor, sell the news.
Yep. Yeah, that'll be interesting. It'll be pretty volatile around that for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to know in terms of like Bitcoin dominance. I mean, this is the ETH BTC ratio, and ETH is still going down with respect to Bitcoin, and it sort of hit the top of that channel, and it's still going down. So Bitcoin is still doing well. Even the Sol ETH pair, like the ratio, Sol's outperforming ETH as well, and it's looking like it's in kind of whatever that is, it's above the last line of resistance. So that's kind of interesting to see. I wonder how long, because of people just calling it ETH dead, which I don't think is the case.
No,
but I think
how is it liquid, like market cap liquidity wise against Bitcoin not in like how many dollars in ETH versus how many dollars in Bitcoin? Does that make sense?
I'd have to try and pull that up. Yeah, the ETH market cap.
Because it would just be second under Bitcoin, no? Is that no?
Oh yeah. Oh, in terms of market cap, 100%. But are you saying if you plotted the ETH market cap?
No, I'm not like a specific plot, but I'm saying like it's not dead. It's definitely not.
Yeah. No. So there's a thing that I liked to look at, which was the pi cycle top indicator. Where and if you go into it, it's basically the multiple of the price of the 350-day moving average, and it uses the 111-day moving average. But historically, it's picked the top within about 3 days when these green and yellow lines converge.
Okay.
So that hasn't happened. The other thing that hasn't happened is the total 2. I was just looking at this. I think while you were talking, but basically it's nowhere near the all-time high, like of the previous cycle. And even total 1 as well. So that's the total crypto market cap was at about 2.83 trillion in, you guessed it, around sort of 11th of November 2021, and then now we're sitting at about just over 2 trillion, and then total 2, we're still under 1 trillion. So these are rookie numbers. Like,
got to pump these
numbers up big time.
Yeah.
So still got a way to go, I reckon.
Yeah, I think if you get a round of quantitative easing, those numbers can change very, very quickly.
It's the
while we're doing a bit of astrology.
Oh yeah. Oh, and look who's here. Hello. Is that 43 in the background there?
What's going on, fellas?
I'm not sure. Hey,
there. How you going, man? Hey, while 43's just jumped in, I'm gonna bail and leave you guys to it.
No worries.
So thanks for having me. But just in regards to what you were just talking about, then I think we should all just maybe start hoping and thinking there's going to be another leg down, so then it actually just keeps going up, because it always seems to be the opposite of what we're thinking. Hey?
Inverse.
So,
yeah,
exactly. So I don't know. I reckon like part of me is just thinking there's going to be another big dip somewhere before we actually get some good confidence and seeing the charts moving. So I'm still bullish for the long term, but I'm not gonna say that we're going to the moon just yet. I reckon we got a few months to go. And in the PulseChain thing, we've got to wait till after October at least. So, but definitely bullish for the long term. But I'm going to leave you guys with it, and I'm going to listen to the rest of the stream. So thanks for having me on, and good to see you guys, and Jexer and Base Radiant. It's good to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thanks, True Blue. Hey. See you, mate.
See you later, True Blue.
So I have to sort of, I guess, say that even though the BTC and ETH have been doing well, like PulseChain has been getting pretty rickety wrecked, and we had that sort of, I mean, the bottom call of like 40369. We're pretty much sitting on it now. It's like 4037. So it hasn't closed the week below like the absolute lowest weekly close, which I think was 40358 maybe. But it's getting pretty damn close to it. So
on that chart you got there,
yes,
you want to go to your indicators and bring up the MACD.
Okay.
Yep. So, yep.
Oh, I think you were saying something about
switch it to 3 day. Well, that's actually not bad what it's doing there, but switch it to 3 days probably good.
Yeah. Okay.
Zoom out a little bit. Yep. And if you plot that, you've got a massive bullish divergence that's happened.
So you're saying because that's going that way, further, yeah. Whereas this is kind of going like that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yep. So that's the indicators are telling you one thing while the chart's saying another. And if you look at the previous top, it was the opposite.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So these were starting to converge the other way right when that was topping out. Okay. That's an interesting. Maybe I should be following the MACD a bit.
Yeah. Your chart looks a little bit different to the one I had, whereas I sort of laid it out in a tweet. I'm not sure what different settings.
I'll see if I can pull that up in the background. How you been there, 43? What's been going on, mate?
Not much, man. Not much. Just regular family stuff and just watching everything melt down. But it's been. What have you guys covered? Like, what have you been talking about? I didn't catch the first stream.
Yeah, I was just saying about the Japanese carry trade, how everything sort of exploded, and then now they're going to have to pump, liquidity into. I think that the government's buying back treasury bonds or something. So hopefully, it's they're going to try and prop up the market going into the election, and then So I mean, so the postulate is that ETH is dead, and it's just I just think that's a short-sighted call. Like that's a Solana 2-hour Jeet call. I think in the long term, I think Ethereum, like that's where all the smart contracts are, right? Like all the EVM chains are built off it. There's going to be some price action maybe towards the end of the cycle for Ethereum is when you really start to see it take over. But not dead.
I don't. Yeah, look, it's this week the general feeling that I've gotten from Ethereum is that it's underperforming, and I think that scares the market because generally you'd expect Ethereum to follow Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's outperforming. But I think this cycle really is a Bitcoin cycle from the perspective of the ETFs. I think that they're getting all the.
Is someone
okay?
Is there someone getting swatted, or is there Renault in the back?
Oh no! Is that me? My wife's probably cooking something. It's like
you're about to get swatted, bro.
No. Sounds like she's tenderizing some meat there, mate.
Yeah.
Sounds like she dragged an elephant through the kitchen.
All good.
Yeah, look, I think these sorts of things, like where people get very scared, this is just par for the. Isn't this just the normal thing that happens in crypto? We like to tell ourselves that we're ready for anything, but I think that you can't be.
Yeah.
Because
the charts, the TA can only show you so much, but you can't. These black swan events and things. It may even be fabricated because they're trying to, create these black swan events so that they got an excuse to pump liquidity.
Let's comment on this term black swan events. I think it's the most. I mean, I'm not gonna have a go at you or anything, Dozer.
Yeah.
But don't you think it's the most overused term in crypto? Because there's one every fucking month, right? Excuse my.
Yeah.
There's a lot of black swans. When will they run out?
Yeah,
and this is just normal.
I know
this is normal.
We should just say an unexpected event. Like, it's like there are lots of unexpected events in crypto, and some of them could be like pre-programmed, liquidation events. I'm a little bit skeptical that they're actually.
You know what
I think. Go on, mate.
You know what I find really funny is where Dozer and I live, black swans are a dime a dozen.
Yeah, there's black swans everywhere.
They're like rabbits, mate.
Yeah, we got blacks. That's why we're like, oh yeah,
Western Australia, the home of crypto.
That is our state emblem. Is a black swan?
Yeah, it should
it really is.
It have the registration tags, eh?
Yeah, we've got the black swan. We represent over here. So, No, it's just business as usual.
So what's the state of crypto? Western Australia.
When we see white swans.
We see a white swan. We're like, what is going on here? But no, it's good. It means that we're hard to rattle. We see.
Why do we think? Do you guys think that because traditional markets seem so stable, do you think that because of that and the volatility that comes with having these, especially now that there's it feels like more so in DeFi because it's more direct markets. The markets are more direct. One individual sitting at home doesn't have to go through a third party to completely change the market. Do you think that direct, without these layers of abstraction, that direct volatility is the reason that we think it's all black swan? And in the traditional legacy stuff, there's all these buffers along the way.
Yep.
Do you think that's and do you think maybe that's part of the reason?
They literally have what's the term they have where they can pull a trigger and it basically if the market's behaving abnormally. What's the term?
Yes. I know what you're saying though. When they freeze,
it's like a backstop or something like that. But I can't remember what the actual
stop loss.
No, it's not a stop loss. There's a particular thing. So if the market goes too wild, they'll just literally lock it down, about like a bank.
It happened like for the GMEs. Yeah, so when the GME stock was like, Kitty guy was coming out and doing a bunch of things, they would freeze the ticker so that you couldn't trade on it on the exchanges, like 7 times in like the hour that it was streaming or whatever it was, because the volatility was just too crazy. And the same thing happens with centralized exchanges.
Briz has got it, plunge protection.
Oh, okay. There you go. G'day, Briz. Yeah. What's up, Briz? PulseChain Altcoin Talk Inc. There you go. But yeah, so exchanges do that. So for people who don't know, when the volatility gets really extreme, I mean, you guys have probably seen this, and it depends on whether you hang out on centralized exchanges or not, but they will cease withdrawals. They will stop you from sending and receiving crypto and trading in those times because they're doing shit behind the scenes.
On Robinhood, I think it was Robinhood, they were literally disabling either the buy or the sell button.
They disabled the buy button. They disabled the buy, so you could only sell.
To try and protect the shorts.
How is that not like market manipulation of...
100% is, man. 100% is.
Yeah. Anyway.
So we've got a few people in the chat here. I'll just quickly bring it up. Which PulseChain meme coin looks better for $10 DCA and LP up the chart based on the current chart? Donald Trump or PP? So maybe at the end we'll pull up some meme coins. So I'll keep that in mind. And then people throwing a couple of meme coins in there. Brizology's got his favorite meme coin in there, Ink. I'm a fan of Ink, actually. I've been doing the farms, but it did take a bit of a hit the other day.
Yeah. So just on that, if you look at most of the movements we have, so if, let's say Pulse moves 5%, generally what you see is PulseX and Hex might move 10, 15%, both up and down. And then Ink seems to be even that little bit more leverage on the whole thing where it might go another couple of percent higher than those. So when you have the swings, so that it's like they all sort of just the leverage builds off of each other.
Is that because of the difference in the liquidity? Do you think that's the ones with the least liquidity?
I can only assume it's the ratios and the liquidity set up, and just interesting to watch.
In fact, I mean, I wouldn't mind pulling up some of that stuff. I was just going to briefly say that Coast is back online in the US. They've got some relationship with Old Glory Hole Bank. I couldn't help you that someone joke.
but it's like they got Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Old Glory, like it's names over there.
Yeah. So I saw
that's actually a really good relationship. So, funny name aside.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay.
Stoic came in and into a chat we were having and sort of basically told a lot of us what was going on, and that is a really solid relationship. They had a lot of trouble setting up their banking relationships. These guys, so they've been very transparent with them in terms of, okay, this is Richard, this was how the funds were raised with the sacrifice, and this was why it was done. Why don't you go to their page, the Old Glory Bank? If you just search, have you got the link to that, or I can give it to you?
I can have a look on the coasting. I was just going to say, you need some serious plunge protection at the Old Glory Hole Bank. That was a layup. Sorry. If you've got the link there,
I'll get you. Just give me 1 second. I'll grab the proper link for you. Where have I put that? Saved it somewhere.
The plunge protection. That's good. I reckon I could use that a few times.
Where did I save that link?
The bank is partly owned by Ben Carson, great American politician. Okay. Ex-brain surgeon. There you go. Multi-talented man. Hang on a sec. I think I know who Ben Carson is. Yeah.
Just do a search for Old Glory Bank because I'm struggling.
Man, I'm not typing Old Glory into Google. Trying to give me a virus. I'm not picking the Old Glory hole links.
Here we go.
I need some plunge protection for that before I start.
I'm going to have to sort out the link.
Reputable bank.
You're making me do some work.
43 mustn't be here because he would be making some jokes there for sure. He loves
try.
I'm listening, mate. I'm listening.
Where's the big jokes? I thought the 43 is going to
try that one, Doz. I'll just put it in.
You've taken all the layups, mate.
The low hanging fruit. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look here. So I know it's a bull market and I'm not meant to be clicking on any links, but apparently this is the one. So, just trust me, bro.
Scroll down the page a little bit.
Yep.
Banking Bill of Rights. Have a look at that.
Okay.
Read of that. What does that sound like?
Ooh, freedom of association, freedom of financial privacy, censorship, freedom of lifestyle, American values. It does sound like very much aligned with the Richard Hart sort of ethos, if that's where you were going with that.
Yeah. No, so that's what I'm saying. I think the relationship that they ended up forming, like they obviously went through a lot of work and got a lot of knockbacks and for one reason or another, but landed on this one. And I think there's a bit of, I hate this word, but a bit of synergy between what our community represents and what this bank represents. So effectively, when you go through Coast, you end up with a bank account with these guys, debit card. You can use your crypto on the debit side of things.
Yeah, right. And so apparently they have an app or something. If you've got the don't download the wrong app. The Old Glory Hole app. Be careful with that one, but otherwise you get someone else. But if you've got the proper Old Glory Bank app, then apparently you can go through Coast, and then you can just.
So how does that work, Jexar? Do you know how that works? So there's money in that bank account, and then you've got a card. Does that, like, where does the crypto part of it come into it? Like, or do they hold your crypto? Like, what exactly is going on with that?
Yeah. So, and look, this is off the back of
this is secondhand information.
Yeah. Well, it's straight from Stoic, but I'll probably cock it up.
Okay.
So yeah, you got to effectively, when you sign up with Coast, you effectively KYCing twice. So you KYC with the bank, and that gets you an account. And obviously you got to tick the boxes on the Coast side of things. But the fact that they are a fully chartered bank means that it makes life a lot easier for Coast and the relationship. There's a lot of less things they need to worry about. Now, I may be misquoting here, but a throwaway comment which was made was that this may end up being like they might want to use Coast as the default crypto path for the bank in future. I don't know. Just that was a throwaway line that I thought I heard. Once you're in in their app, if you've used Coast before, I think it's going to throw up like a little tile in their app so you can actually buy CST straight away from the app. How that links out to your account, I'm not to your blockchain-based account. I'm not too sure. And in answer to your question, I don't really know the mechanism behind how. This is what I thought I heard. I could be wrong. If you deposit the CST into Coast, it may be somehow linked to the debit card or something. I could be way off the mark on that, but it seemed like that's what they were working towards.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. So if they're in custody of the CST, then
No. I don't. I think the big move is to not have them involved in custody of crypto.
So okay. I guess I'm just trying to understand how does the card. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to understand. How I guess we sort of need to get. We don't know the facts, and we want to find out.
Yeah, there was some trust set up, right? Is that still a thing?
No, that's the old narrative. I think that's I think that's changed. That was a different banking partner, which has obviously been pulled. I think they've listened to his explanation of the path they went through and everything they had to do. I think they've landed on a pretty good option, and it literally opens up all of the US with a direct on ramp to PulseChain. So,
that's really cool.
Yeah, what does that mean for Australians? I mean, us being an Australian stream, can Australians sign up for that or not?
That Coast has always been open to Australians via Wise. I think it is Wise that they use as their transfer mechanism. That remains in place. If you've got some way to get a US bank account, then I'm sure you could probably
can you if you set up a US bank account, can you send a telegraphic transfer over to the Old Glory? I mean, I guess these are questions for from your bank directly to the bank in the US. I mean, with all this, the SWIFT stuff and all that.
I think the short answer would be I can't see why, because that's just normal banking stuff. It would be the real question would be, are you in a position are you able to set up a US bank account? So do you have an address over there you can use? And if you can do that in any bank, if you've got the ability to set up a US bank account, then I don't see why you can't set up one with these guys.
Yeah, awesome.
So most Australians probably don't have a US. You would think, almost everyone wouldn't have a US one. So I'm just, I guess we need to just find out more info, because I'm just a bit, I don't quite understand how Australians can use it if there's
no. The Australians won't be using Old Glory Bank.
Old Glory, they use Wise or whatever it is. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Wise to the Old Glory.
Yeah.
Right. Wise is like a very small, like volume type thing, isn't it? Like you can't do.
Yeah, it's like sending payments to friends or like overseas.
Yeah. So if you use Wise in Australia and you start bringing in $10,000, your Wise account will probably get shut down immediately.
Yeah. I don't know.
I can't confirm.
I think they've. No, actually, no. I'll give you a little bit of something. I did actually listen to what he said. They've had a conversation with Wise, because the biggest issue is whether their Wise is getting involved in the crypto transaction. And if they are in any way, shape, or form, then that's an issue. So the crypto transaction needs to be an arm's length transaction. The fact that you're transferring the funds to the Coast guys means that Wise aren't at risk from that situation. So I don't know what the volume side of things is. I don't think it's a massive issue because they're not exposed to the crypto side of the equation.
Yeah. I mean,
and do you know if there are limits on the Wise stuff?
No, not sure. Don't know.
Okay.
I think maybe we should also point out that there's quite a few ways in which to get onto PulseChain. So if you go to gopulsechain.com and you go to tools, there's a buy and sell thing here, which it shows you the 0x coast. It's got a whole bunch of things. There's ways, block blend, or you can go MEXC or whatever. And then the main PulseChain bridge, the Token Express bridge, and also on pulsecoinlist.com/buy. This I think is really good because you can sort it by either lowest fees or and it tells you whether it's got KYC, and actually tells you what the fees are. So at the moment, just using the main PulseChain bridge is obviously the best way to get on, assuming you've already got Ethereum or something like that from an exchange. But yeah, there's heaps of ways. So it's good that Coast is doing their thing as well as an on ramp. But there are heaps of bridges.
Yeah, a lot of that is once you're already on chain. A lot of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that was always
but change now. You can go from a credit card, can't you?
Not sure. Their fees are pretty shit, to be honest, on change now. So it's good to have that's probably one of the big things with Coast is you could move volume through them, and the fee will be like, I think it's 0.75 or something like that, which is not bad.
Yeah, they're taking it on the okay.
I mean,
and
in terms of fees, the main PulseChain bridge is 0% in, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 0% in, and then there's a fee to bridge out maybe. So that's obviously the best, but then you just have to pay the gas. So depending on what the GUI is at the time on Ethereum, if the GUI is low, then that's still your best bet for large buys, for large sort of bridging, assuming you're already on chain. Otherwise, you got Spark Swap. You can use from BNB and I think from Arbitrum as well. So that's a low gas way to swap as well, or to bridge in.
Do you know what I think? I think when the green candles are big enough, people will find a way.
That's true, isn't it? Yep. 100%. There's been quite a few things going on. It sort of seems like business as usual in terms of the cycle, and sort of where we are in terms of the cycle. But there has been, some bullish stuff as well. I made a note here that said Morgan Stanley now allows 15,000 financial advisors to recommend spot Bitcoin ETFs issued by BlackRock or Fidelity to clients with net worths over 1.5 million and strong risk tolerance. This change opens a massive new pool of capital for spot Bitcoin ETFs, with Morgan Stanley advisors managing over $5.7 trillion in assets. So that's recent. That's only the other day that they've now been able to, I guess, shield the Bitcoin ETFs to their clients.
There'll be financial advisors actually advising for it.
Yeah.
The spot ETF.
So financial advisors have had two things happen that are really important. So first of all, it's been anointed by BlackRock and all the powers that be say, hey, it's no longer a shit asset. It's the best thing since sliced bread now. So that's from a psychological thing, and they can now, they've been given the green light. But the biggest thing is there was never a trailing commission for these guys for recommending Bitcoin. So they say, yeah, you can go put Bitcoin in your account, and you go to an exchange and you store it in your hard wallet. That's no good for an advisor, because that's not how their business model works. So they need product that produces a trail for them. So that's the big thing, is if they get that trail, they'll start recommending it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And the other thing is that, some of the Ethereum ETFs that have been, I guess, having a lot of outflows recently, and I would say underperforming, everyone's sort of saying, oh, Ethereum's underperforming. Partly that's because Grayscale Trust had been basically giving out shares at a discount for this whole bear market, right? So, you remember the Grayscale discount? And so all of those guys had been racking up shares in the Grayscale Trust at discount. When their ETF went live, they could cash it in at market price. So that's why there was so much outflows in that, because everyone had just bought it at 20% discount, just waiting for the ETF, and then the Grayscale were cashing out through their ETF. So now it makes sense why there was so much outflows, because they were just taking that discount that they had, So anyway, I thought that was really interesting.
Wouldn't you wreck yourself though? So you buy it at a 20% discount, but then everyone dumping it sells it down more than 20%. Have you not just come outside?
No, not necessarily. If you dump, it depends on how much you actually affect the market. But if you're buying, spot Ethereum at some of those discounts were up to 40%. I know that the Bitcoin Grayscale Trust, they were buying shares at like up to, I think, 42% or something. Or maybe it was Ethereum. One of them was. So they were pretty serious discounts. And then if they can, once that trust became a spot Ethereum ETF, I think they could cash their shares in at the spot price. So that's why they just took that. So there was a lot of outflows.
I wasn't even aware that happened with Grayscale. So that's what they actually done. They did end up converting
They converted their trust into an ETF. Yep. I think that's why we saw so much, the Ethereum ETF outflows, was because all those guys that got the discount. So once I figured that out, I was like, hang on, they're going to run out. They're going to run out of sellers who bought those.
Grayscale has Ethereum. I thought it was just BTC.
No, they had
okay, right. There you go.
An Ethereum trust as well. Yeah, that's now become an ETF. So that's a finite amount, all right, of people that could have bought those Grayscale Ethereum shares at a discount, and then they're all out now in the first couple of weeks that it converted it to an ETF. But it's like not constant sell pressure, is what I'm saying.
But wasn't there some dodgy shit that went down where Barry Silbert, because he's the founder of that, isn't he? I've got that right.
I don't know. The founder. What was his name?
Oh, that Barry Silbert. I thought he was the main guy behind that. I could be wrong. Sommy's in
Grayscale. I thought it was.
I think he knows who it is.
Great show, fellas. PulseChain really cheap. 20x flips Cardano. 10x flips Bitcoin Cash. Only takes 580 million to make it go up 100x. Sack Wallet has 1.7 billion at 10k ETH.
Okay, never mind.
Cycle holding. Yeah. Somebody did a really good stream the other day where he was talking about like what would it take to make PulseChain do 100x, because a lot of people just sort of think, you can only ever do like a 5x because it's just too heavy and all this sort of stuff. But you really have to consider that the Sack wallets have that 170,000 ETH, and then once you put that ETH price up to 10k, it's $1.7 billion. No. So, and then if you look at the way AMMs work in terms of the square, so if you take the buy side liquidity, and then you need to only have the square root of like 100x to get the 100x. So you only have to do 10 times the buy side liquidity to get 100x. So say, for example, whatever it is, 20, I think there's 20 million in the Pulse, wrap ETH pair, around 17 million. So each pool, you just have to 10x the buy side to make it the whole thing go 100x.
So do you think we're running our own negative carry trade?
Are we running away?
We're running our own. We've got our own negative carry trade.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
We're all getting beaten to shit on the hope.
Look, this is the information asymmetry that Sommy talks about, and it's the edge. It's basically an edge because people have never heard of PulseChain or whatever. They certainly don't know about the SAC wallets. And if they do, they think, RH is a scammer because they haven't watched all these streams. They realize that he's a genuine guy that's actually trying to help people. And then so that's our edge, right? Is that we know that this stuff exists and that Richard Hart is a genius. He can figure this shit out better than most people. So,
and that's I think what you're seeing there, and what you've just said. That's the surface stuff that you have got a lot more visibility in to as well, where there's probably quite a lot under the surface that you're not aware of what's going on.
Oh, for sure.
And that's the little bit of mystery about it all, I guess.
Yeah,
and do you guys reckon it can get to 11K?
ETH. I mean, there's a lot of resistance to get to 11. At the very end of the cycle, I think it could get to 10K.
As a blow off, I think it could probably push higher.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna coin the phrase. No one's ever heard it before. I'm gonna coin the phrase 11K and pray.
That's it. It's the new. We've done the reverse. Reverse card. It's 11K and pray, but we're praying for 11K.
We didn't get to use Bitcoin. We didn't get to use it for Bitcoin, so we can use it for Ethereum. Let's recycle it.
I like that. That's clever. That's good.
Such a great tagline.
Yeah, well done, man. That's clever. If we could get Ethereum to 11K and then those SAC wallets rotate into PulseChain, pray for my how much tax I'm gonna have to pay.
If Ethereum could get to $11,800 US, that would be a $2 billion SAC wallet.
Yeah, that's serious dollars. I mean, you have to consider that there's sell pressure, on a lot of this stuff as well. So when I was saying if you 10x the buy side liquidity, then you 100x the price. That's in a perfect world where no one sells, right? So it probably takes more than that. But if somebody's saying it actually only takes 580 million to go to 100x, it certainly is possible.
The unknowable on that is what is the current liquidity.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so you can effectively take liquidity down to a very, very small amount, which obviously volatility would be insane. But so those numbers, I don't know how you'd have to obviously make some assumptions on where the liquidity starts, and that's the one thing we don't know.
So just ballpark, sort of liquidity here. So PLSX and Pulse, there's 35 million. Inc. PulseX 32 million. Pulse Die 27. Inc. Pulse 27. Hex is 17.
Okay. All right. Pulse. So what if? So let's assume people are yield farming the majors because they're on PulseX. You get your ink from that. Happy days while we're grinding away. But if the impermanent loss from staying in those pools is going to be crazy if the market starts to move up, people, rather than just yield farming ink, pull the liquidity so they're not going to get the impermanent loss. The liquidity that's in there now, whether it's users or RH or whoever, I don't care. Let's just say that liquidity could get pulled, and that would have a major impact on what would happen if buy pressure came in.
Yeah. So the impermanent loss thing is interesting because, say wrapped ETH, wrapped Pulse. I mean, I had and if I price it in wrapped ETH, so I had my conspiracy tinfoil hat theory that was, this is a very interesting trend that we had of Pulse versus ETH, and then now we seem to be entering a very tight range where we're very correlated with ETH. I'm not quite sure why, but it seems to be that anytime we start to break out of this range, it actually comes back down. So Maybe whoever is, a big player is trying to keep these ranges, but for the interim, maybe because of the ratios, and you could argue that. But for me, this is great for yield farming because your impermanent loss is minimized when you're in such a tight sideways range. But it also does sort of show that PulseX is actually outperforming Pulse at the moment.
Did you just bring that up? Because it's at 0.57.
0.57,
which is it's pretty. It's been just going up. If you look at where it got down to early on, where did it get down to early on?
0.24.
So what's that? 100%? That's 100% move, is it? Have I got that right?
Yeah.
You used to need 4 PulseX to buy 1 Pulse, and now you need less than 2. Now you need less than 2.
Yeah, it's more. It's like 130%. So, PulseX seems to be, we talked about this last week, and I had that giant PulseX bull and everything, and I was sort of saying that, PulseX does seem to be on a bit of a tear against Pulse in terms of a ratio. So, the Pulse wrapped ETH is good for yield farming in terms of minimizing your impermanent loss. But with this PulseX, I mean, the trend is your friend all the way to the end of the trend. So I don't know how long this trend is going to continue for, but certainly seems like PulseX is starting to make a nice move since about
While
April.
we're on tickers that have an X and a P in them, have you guys talked about XRP?
No, haven't mentioned it. So
what happened with that case? Do you guys know much about it?
Oh, I basically know the bare minimum, which was that the case got the case was closed, and they had to pay it was $150 million or something.
Something like that.
It was.
I think this case is of particular interest to our community, being the Hex PulseX community, because whilst they're not exactly the same thing, it is sort of the same thing has gone on, where it's the SEC going after a particular, in our case it's a number of tickers, but in XRP's case it's 1 ticker. I guess the difference is that they had there was a foundation or a company behind it, and in this case, like all of that is yet to be determined. And also, our stuff is the stuff that we're into is DeFi, like actually DeFi, decentralized. Whereas a lot of that stuff is centralized.
XRP's narrative was always like banks are going to adopt this, and that was always the thing. And it never.
And I guarantee all those institutional sales wouldn't have been done on a handshake. They would have had probably contracts. There would have been documentation and
But don't the XRP guys just dump, like perma dump, all their tokens on chain?
Look, if anything was ever going to be a security, that was the one.
Would have been.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I think the takeaway, like obviously the sales to institutional stuff, are obviously selling something, and they would have, like I said, they would have had some sort of contract or an agreement or something that was put in place. The blockchain side of things was obviously a little bit different, and that was the thing that got essentially thrown out of court, which is that bodes well from if it's all on chain and it's you're not actually selling an interest in an entity, that's the difference, I guess.
But the fine,
and if you thought if anything was a security, sorry,
you're right.
Dozer, you go.
No, go ahead.
I was like, if anything's, they've quite literally said or given people expectations of profit by them having contracts or business with government and people thought they bought into it because they thought, well, this is going to be a government thing. And it's funny how the SEC actually spun it. They spun it as a win for them, when what they went after and what they were hoping for was what they got was much, much, much less than what they were going after. So, I mean, I think anyone who's assessing it in a fair and rational way would look at it and say, well, the SEC just overplayed their hand enormously and got a fraction of what they were going for. And now XRP are free. I would be surprised if XRP don't have like the with prejudice stuff thrown in there. So now they can go about their business and not be encumbered by overzealous bureaucrats.
So once again, God knows how much it cost the SEC to run that little racket for, what's that, 5 years, 6 years or something like that. So the cost to taxpayers to actually do that would have been enormous. They've got 125 mil. The actual investors going to see a lick of that for any damages or anything like that?
I mean, that's like the FTX stuff, like all the money that they are they actually going to pay that back?
Well, I think it's it's the Celsius one where they're trying to do the disgorgement of people that were lucky enough to get their funds out before it imploded. So that's a whole other thing as well, where not only are investors that have been wrecked getting more wrecked, but the guys that actually dodged a bullet, they're now going to get wrecked. So they're going to get all their funds. They're trying to claw back all their funds.
And what do you think? Like, because that's a community that have come off this SEC thing, and now what's the XRP chart done since then? Like in the last week, has it? I mean, because
it went up a little bit, but not heaps.
Yeah, because their whole thing was, and I wonder, how does that apply to us? Does that apply to us in any way, shape, or form? Can we, like, let's not put too much emphasis on what a positive outcome in this case could mean immediately.
It just gets them do much.
Really. I think you will get a reactionary, emotional move.
Yep.
Yeah. But I've said this all along. Even on the downside, like on the news of the SEC, like if you understand what's actually happening, I don't know why it has so much impact. Anyway, there's obviously that emotional side of things, and people do sell the news type of stuff. But I don't think, like, if it continues to drag out way past this bull market, so something happens in October and it's going to be a long, protracted case, I don't know that it changes what's going to happen price-wise anyway. Maybe a little.
Yeah.
But I think
I get the impression as well that the SAC wallets are going to do what the SAC wallet's going to do.
Yeah.
So, and people are going to try and front run that. People are going to buy green candles, all that stuff.
I'll put it this way. Throughout the whole process of the XRP trial, did they throw their hands up and go, oh, you know what, we're just going to sit around and do F all until you guys figure it all out when the case is sorted? Like, they just went on business as usual. Businesses don't stop because a case has been chucked at them. Microsoft, with bloody, they had an antitrust case where they rolled in Internet Explorer or something into the operating system, and Netscape and all those guys chased them for years and years. But by the time they got through to a decision, it was too late. Like, they'd had it tied into the operating system for that whole period. So it doesn't change what a business is going to do, or what I think it's a situation normal. You just deal with the case as it comes out. Yeah,
well, I mean, it's interesting also that if you look at the chart, when that case was brought, you can see there was a massive, like, the chart just went down. It just bled out.
There was
so bad.
I remember a little while ago, a couple months back, maybe even last year sometime, there was some good news about the XRP, and it did skyrocket. So maybe it's like already played out. I can't
priced
remember.
in
by the rumor.
Yeah. There was a time when it pumped.
I think you're right.
6
Actually, I
months
remember
ago or
that.
something.
Yeah,
do you remember
there was
that?
some good
and
news.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought this news. That's why I was like, oh, this is funny. Like I thought this already happened. Like,
the irony for the Pulse and the Hex Pulse PulseX, people who have bought these tickers, being us. The irony is that the very agency that's supposed to be looking after our interests has hurt us so badly.
Yeah,
they
stop
hurt
trying to help us,
the
SEC. Yeah, just
no, they hurt the
trying to protect
so
us
badly. You could not possibly have hurt the investors any worse than what they've done.
Yeah, that's the irony.
And the irony, and also the what's probably unfair about it, that if it goes away, it probably is not going to pump in the same way that it went down. It's not.
Well, then, could there be class actions? Could there be a class action case against the SEC?
That was the point I was getting towards. I was moving towards this very point, that they've actually done damage to the The SEC have gone against what their whole MO is. Their MO is supposed to be protect and look after the investor, and they've done the exact opposite of that. And are they going to be held to account? Is that going to be on the investors to do?
Wasn't that something that happened recently where, and I could be wrong on this point, but there was something happened, I thought, where they thought they had immunity or something like that, and it was proven that they don't. They can actually be held accountable.
Okay, I know there is some guy who's suing the SEC because there's that song about it.
That song, yeah.
And I think it's not until that actually happens that they can actually start pulling their head in, because one, like if it starts costing taxpayers money because they're using their overreach, I think that's the only way you're going to get them to stop doing what they're doing. And if any industry,
No, sorry, finish your point. I thought you were just...
I was going to say, if any industry can do it, it's probably the crypto industry, because they have been so fairly untreated and the rules have not been clear. So I think you've got a clear case to make. Maybe it's off the back of... Sorry, you go.
Well, mate, there was was it a tweet or a video or something where Richard Hart had mentioned that Gary Gensler was talking outside his capacity as the chairman of the SEC, and in that particular instance, it seemed like he thought he would be liable for he should be held to account for that sort of commentary, because it was outside his capacity.
Yeah, they can't have it both ways.
That's something which is prosecuted under the same guise to people. Like, he's done the same rhetoric, so you would think.
Yeah, true. If he's going to say that, look, he's not speaking on behalf of the SEC, but he does think that ETH's a security or whatever. Well, if he's not speaking on behalf of the SEC, well, who's he speaking on behalf of? And if that affects the market, then he's the one that is. Yeah, it's like you've opened yourself up. You can't.
Unless he holds down another job. Does he hold down another job at Subway or something?
Taking bribes.
Yeah, but you've got to be.
That's his future job.
I think you just got to be careful what you wish for in that situation as well, because what do you attack him under? For manipulating a market?
Well, it doesn't. The jurisdiction in Australia, it doesn't. The SEC has no jurisdiction. So why should people in Australia be affected by comments that he makes?
Yeah, but we're as a decentralized project, and as a something that doesn't fall under the current regulations from a securities point of view, how can you make a case? Okay, well, you're manipulating securities or you want to be very careful putting yourself in that basket.
Well, but he has a responsibility, I would say. If you're in a position of power like that, you have a responsibility to be very careful in what you say, because like the litigious side of things. So, I mean, he's been a little bit careless.
So what I'm asking you, what would you sue him under though?
like
what?
market manipulation or
What?
Is it a commodity? I mean,
And that's what I'm saying. You want to be
Right.
very, very careful what you go after.
Gross
someone for,
gross misconduct as the chairman of the SEC, speaking out
yeah,
of
it's a
his
good point.
capacity.
I see what you're saying, though. Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, gross misconduct. Yeah, I mean,
gross misconduct in his capacity as the SEC chairman, speaking outside of his capacity.
Yeah, that's right. For manipulating, and you want to be even careful what you say, manipulating markets or manipulating. Yeah, it's a very
commodity markets. Yeah, I mean, and an American would
price went down. I'm not
do
happy.
that case.
For manipulating. Wait. It's manipulating public sentiment because they hold a position. He holds a position of
Is
power.
that free speech? Then it's free speech. You got to be so careful.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Free speech. Free speech exists in the US, but not without consequences, right? Yeah. No one's saying that you can't say what you want to say, but there are consequences. There's defamation in. He's basically, it's almost defamation on the good name of the code of Hex.
Yeah. So if I come out and defaming, say Pikachu's a piece of shit, he's the worst Pokemon ever, like, what are you hate speech against Pikachu? Like what?
Yeah, but it depends on the position you hold. Like some rando on the internet like us probably what we say doesn't have a lot of weight. But if you're the chairman of the SEC, probably
if you're the chairman of the anime or the cartoon association of the world, and and you're shitting on Pikachu, you know. Just as they're releasing a new like set of game cards or something, you know, maybe you get sued for that. You know, I don't know. I understand what you're saying, Jexa, but I think that people they try and hold everyone else to account. Well, maybe they need to be held to account as well, and that's the only way.
I mean, as much as I'd love to, I'm just thinking, you got to be.
Look, it's already Friday afternoon, and I've already had a couple of scotches, so I probably won't take them to court. I am already in my pajamas, you know, so that's that old Futurama line. So look, we probably won't do anything about it. And like you say, where do you draw the line? Because do you take Hayden Adams to court and say, well, you guys are gatekeeping Hex on Uniswap, and then that's made the price go down, or so people can't buy it? It's like, it is what it is. Like you say, if people want it, they'll find a way.
See, that one I actually disagree with. I think that's just a website.
It's a front end.
Make a website that interacts with the contract that includes Hex. So that one, that's a private company that decided to not include Hex on their front end. I don't agree with their decision, but I think that's all fair. I think that's fair game. I mean,
because
they have the thing that
I don't like. So the thing that I don't like about it is that he preaches this whole DeFi, and you know, Hayden Adams is, you know, we're in it for DeFi, and you're kind of thinking, well, hang on, if it was truly decentralized, then why are you know, picking and choosing, gatekeeping, you know, Hex, but not all of the other plethora of scam coins that are out there?
At best, they're hypocrites. At best,
yes, that's right. That's the truth. Yeah, they're just hypocrites.
I think what the crux of the matter was, for me anyway, was not that they banned Hex, because they could have done. In actual fact, I would have more respect for them if they had banned it before anything came out about the SEC, and it was only after that came out that's when they took a position. So what that is essentially saying is, well, we're treating what we're doing as though we're dealing with securities at this point, or they're trying to avoid it, but effectively that's the position they're putting themselves in. Like, you kowtowed to something not because you thought it was a scam, but because
basically Uniswap was just being the SEC's bitch and was just like, oh, if the SEC's got a problem with Hex, then I better quickly censor it over here. It's like, well, why don't you have a spine and just
And it's funny that they did that, and then they got sued.
Yeah, that was the irony. Is after We sort of
Yeah,
said
they
if we're
got sued
getting,
after.
you know, and we're saying if we actually said that, we're going, look, if we're getting sued and if everyone else is getting sued, like everyone could potentially get sued here. So we want to fight against the SEC. Let's like have a common enemy and band together, put our petty differences aside and you know, innate tribal, you know, tendencies aside and come together as a crypto community against the common enemy of the SEC.
What
and
a
then
real
it was like,
show
no, fuck
of
you
weakness.
guys. They were like, sorry,
no, but what a real show of weakness. The show of weakness on their part to try and towel and placate, you know, the SEC
Virtue
and
signal.
just get slapped around because of it. You know, I really think that probably didn't help them. Because it made them look like they were backtracking and kowtowing to, you know, try and, you know, make them happy. But that just looks weak. That looks like you've done something.
You've got to understand the pedigree of what's going on, though, because they are all VC-backed companies so VCs are obviously balls deep in TradFi, so they've got to play by the TradFi rules. They would have all their lawyers, CFOs, everyone making sure that they stay on the right side of TradFi. So that's the pedigree. They're not dealing in decentralized finance. Behind them all, there is, and that's why Uni token is still a useless piece of shit. Is because they can't. No, this is true. They actually can't switch on the mechanism where Uni holders get a fee revenue from the exchange, because then it's a security, because they're relying on the work of others, and so that's why they can only release useless pieces of shit, because that's like Gary Gensler would rather have you send out and create worthless pieces of crap rather than something that has value, because that's the way the stupid rules work.
Hey guys, I'm gonna duck out. Very, very nice talking to you two. We don't usually have two smart Australian guys like as guests at the same time, so it's nice to have you guys on. I'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, mate.
Gotcha.
Awesome. Thanks, 43. Have a good weekend, mate. Yes, it is. It is good to have you guys on. What have you been up to, Base Radiant? Have you been building any projects, any coding any stuff?
I can't talk about one thing, but I've been coding up some stuff. I was just making like a little game. There was a not DeFi related at all, but there was a game jam, and I made this little geometry game, and you like shoot, and then you get like cards that buff your abilities. It was a cool little project thing, so I got really busy with that. I'm working on a meditation app for like a nice friend of a friend.
Oh wow.
Again, not DeFi, but just like pays the bills, you know.
Yeah. Is that like an Android app or
both? So Android, iOS. It's on React Native. So yeah, that is just a platform that does both Android and iOS.
Cool. Yeah. And so the game you were saying had geometric shapes or something, or?
Yeah, it was it's kind of hard to explain. I can show it actually.
That's crazy. No, I just remember
I'm more interested in the thing you can't tell us about.
Yeah, I know. I do have one, but I haven't asked what I can. I don't know. We haven't like formally made a deal, so I don't want to get dicey.
Yeah.
Potentially
that's cool.
Something coming up with Tom Gillespie.
Okay. Awesome.
That's all. I won't say
that's cool.
So potentially. Yeah, blockchain.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. Because I remember that you were sort of into a bit of like that sacred geometry or something as well.
Yeah, it was right up my alley. Like I really enjoyed it. But
and I remember Jexa is as well, because he asked me about it once, and I don't know anything about it, so I thought maybe
I know enough to be very ignorant of it all. I know enough to know I don't know much.
Yeah.
I like really nerding out over like really esoteric like doing nice, cool drawings and mathematical things, and it's a good way to like fill time.
Especially like Fibonacci series and
I got some of the old Euclid's Elements as well, like the oldest maths textbook in the world. This is really off topic. It's not crypto at all, but like
that's cool.
It's like coloring in, right? But it's like for adults. It's like
that's pretty cool.
You know,
that's a meditative thing as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I've just remember seeing some stuff about some shells, like some conch shells and things like that, and they put out like a Fourier series, and they had all of these like harmonics of all of these like waves, and they basically plotted out like a 3D representation of what this series of harmonics would look like, and it basically plotted like the vector volume of this shell, which already exists in nature, and you're like, that's pretty crazy. Why are there waves and harmonics and waves
that comes up like all the time?
Oh yeah, in spiral galaxies and all that stuff.
From like literally here, right? So you have your arm from here to here, and then you take the wrist. Where is it here? That's the golden ratio. So that's not
okay.
So this is the golden ratio to this. So
and then the anatomy side of
it's everywhere. It's everywhere and everything.
Between your wrist to your elbow is your foot. Like that's how long your foot is. Like everyone's foot is like, try it on your friends, but everyone's own feet are as long.
Is that not how high you are from tip of your finger, tip of your finger? That's also how high you are.
Could be as well. So isn't that bizarre that you get these ratios?
And it's the ratios, the actual ratios, and that's where a lot of the old, not metric system, the imperial system, is it? The American, the Yankee one, right? That's where miles, and like a mile is 1,000 paces, right? And it's just a human pace.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy. The more you sort of look into that stuff.
Like humans are the measure of universe kind of thing.
Oh man, it gets pretty spun out.
Yeah.
I was just talking about the ratios before because I'm sort of, mad on the ratios on say, PulseX, looking at saying, PulseX is outperforming in terms of Pulse. And then if you look at the ratios of like, Pulse versus wrapped ETH, it really gives you an idea of, in the short term, at least, like where the trend is and which asset you can be in. So yeah, that's just like the ratio stuff I've really been looking into a lot. And so Inc, for example, I think with respect to Pulse is also in a pretty good sideways up and up trend. So that's, you could take the Inc that you earn from a wrapped Pulse, wrapped ETH farm and then put it into an Inc wrapped Pulse farm. And I think your impermanent loss would be relatively low. But also, looking at the Hex Pulse ratio, Hex has been going down versus Pulse, but still within a relatively tight range.
Have you got Hex PulseX one?
Hex PulseX. I don't think I do because of these pools, but
I was providing liquidity on Hex, WPLS, and or just Pulse and the Hex, and then I rotated that out into PulseX, and instead of like PulseX instead of Hex, and I found that there's not the same amount of volume, but the fees are slightly higher. I'm talking on 9mm, so it kind of balances out. But it's just like not the same amount of volume I was finding. Like Hex does more volume.
I think you were telling me that 9mm has a new opening page as well. That's
another
cool
thing. I just noticed that this morning. They have a new.
That's sweet.
Yeah, I wonder what they built it in.
That's awesome. Because it was a bit, it sort of said, under construction, you can go to.
It was like that way forever. I thought that was how it was going to be, but they just put up a new thing. It's actually kind of harder to find the dexes if you just go straight to the thing because you gotta.
Yeah.
Right. You're like, how do I get to the dex? Anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
It is really cool.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, it looks like you got it here. So that's the V3 DEX there. Oh, because they've got that OTC thing as well. I always forget about that.
Oh, really? Like a
they've got an OTC like peer-to-peer market.
I wonder if people are actually using it, because you need like a decent amount of people in different areas, right?
I can pull it up, but I think I have to connect a wallet to it. So I've got like an on-stream wallet. I've got an on-stream wallet I can use. So it's fine. But that's pretty cool. So, sorry, I've got some, I don't know if you can hear that. I've got like some construction going on in the background.
No, it's not too bad.
Well.
No.
Did you guys
earlier?
All good. All good. You know, we're busy. G'day, McNuggets.
Howdy.
And yes, the sacred geometry stuff. The sacred geometry stuff is cool, and I have been looking at a lot of like UFO podcasts and stuff lately, which has been interesting. Because I was watching a Joe Rogan.
You've gone down the rabbit hole, haven't you?
Yeah.
You told me to, Jexa. You asked me to, and I was like, all right. And then I sort of went down the David Grutch interviews and stuff. Some of that is pretty crazy.
I was watching that live as it happened. One of the things in Congress or whatever US judicial system thing, like he was getting interviewed and back and forth, and it was like big American heavyweights, and they're all like,
I watched that.
I'm trying to think who's the other main dude that has been all about the disclosure.
Well, there was that fighter pilot that saw all the Tic Tacs or whatever.
Yeah, no, there's a guy behind it that's been putting it all together. Jesus, what's his name?
Oh, you mean the Australian
not
who's been interviewing him? Or?
50 minutes. So this guy's he's a real tall guy, sort of real sort of pocked face.
UFO to go would know.
Yeah. Does the thing where they sit in circles and chant and try and attract aliens, and so he's
okay. That's next level.
The stuff that I saw, a lot of the stuff he's got's legit.
Yeah, the stuff that I saw was more just about that this David Grutch guy had top secret clearance, and that he was giving like the presidential updates, like the briefings in the mornings to the president at the time. So he was like high level, and he was just overseeing a lot of these committees or something. And it was more just, he was just whistleblowing that there was departments which had big dollars, which were investigating, in theory, they were investigating crafts and, crashed UAPs and things like that, and various tech. So it's just interesting that these agencies do exist, right? And they're just the ones that are provable. I'm sure there's other agencies that we don't even know about.
Okay.
And it's not to say that, that they're aliens or whatever, but because they could actually be doing, working on stealth tech for the military. They could be getting, foreign, like international crafts that have crashed, and they're trying to, reverse engineer the tech. So there could be other things that are going on there, but they put all under the UFO or UAP basket.
I just put a link in the chat. So Dr. Stephen Greer is the dude I'm
now we're talking.
So if you want to go down a rabbit hole, man, he has just uploaded like literally quadrillion terabytes of actual data, which is all from.
I know this guy. So the problem is, right, there is an overlap here. You've got one guy who has top secret clearance. Like, I mean, I've got some military clearance as well. It's not top secret clearance, but I do have a military clearance. But these guys are legitimate. I mean, I think he's just got a Bachelor of Science. He's not a PhD, that David Grutch guy. But he
had something that was reasonable.
I'm pretty sure it's just a Bachelor of Science, the equivalent. Yeah. And so, but he was up there, had all of the, the clearances that you can imagine. And he was just saying that these agencies exist that investigate this stuff. So that was the factual part, right? And then you, unfortunately, you have the Terrence Howard stuff, which we talked about, Jexa, that time where, someone just comes along and just goes, I've created this really interesting geometry, you know, so if you have like the 6 bubbles or whatever, and then the intersection of like the negative space between those bubbles, like that's a really interesting geometric shape, that linchpin. But then he just says, oh, it's the magnetic field or something like that. Like it's the electric field. And he just makes this leap of judgment where you kind of go, hang on, now you've just conflated two things together. You know, electromagnetic fields are well defined, you know, near field, far fields, what frequency, and then you just come up with a geometric shape and said it's a magnetic field. It doesn't make any sense at all. So these guys, like the Stephen Greer guys and things, I feel like sometimes they just take it a little bit too far. Like they just
I think there's a line. There's a line where sometimes can be crossed, or it gets, and I don't know whether a lot of it's disinformation that comes out and things like where, who knows, it gets a pretty murky space. But I think a lot of people with high security clearances trust or go to Stephen Greer and disclose a lot of things to him. So that's, I get a feeling where I agree with Red Squirrel a little bit. There's something going on there, but undoubtedly he's got access to a lot of declassified information that is worth at least looking at.
Yeah, and some of it is bullshit though, right? Like I noticed there was a guy that was talking about some tech he stumbled across in Antarctica, and he was like I think he was a maintenance guy or like a mechanical engineer or something. So, but then he just went, it's a direct energy weapon, and it's creating it's tsunamis off the coast of Japan, and it's like
I saw that one.
You've gone too far. Like
George Bush ordered that tsunami as like some sort of
So you get these Venn diagrams of like of information that's
just
real,
believable enough, and then a big jump.
So they have neutrino experiments in Antarctica because they drill down into the ice sheets, and they can actually, because they do the same thing. They drill like kilometers into the Earth's crust to measure neutrinos, because you know we're just being streamed with neutrinos all the time. But to actually detect one, you have to have these amazing sort of experiments. So they had a neutrino experiment, I think, in Antarctica. So he's probably just stumbled across that and just gone, it's a weapon.
Yeah. And that, I think that's what half the problem is. I think that's half the problem is that there's obviously a lot that's going on that's not disclosed. And then what it means is everyone has to start speculating on and trying to fit all the pieces of the puzzle together, and you end up just going off on massive tangents rather than the truth would probably be...
The truth is out there.
The truth would probably be a lot less fantastical, but you've got to give it to the people so they can actually make a call.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like there's probably some real tech out there where, because they've been working on, so Lockheed Martin and the Skunk Works program, they were working on the Blackbird, the SR-71 since the 70s, right? So stealth technology, the bomber, the B-2 bombers, all that stuff has been around since the 70s, like proper stealth
what
tech.
They have now,
And then it's like, so they're working on that stuff. Of course they tried anti-gravity, whatever. I'm sure they tried this sort of stuff. And it's not to say that those Tic Tac things that guy was saying was a UAP. It could have been a military craft, right? And so there's a lot of like overlap where you kind of going, there's some interesting tech going on there, but then, there's also some really weird shit out there as well that sometimes has So are
you telling me you haven't fully gone down the rabbit hole yet, Doz?
Man, I'm going down it. I'm searching through the weeds, bro. This is the problem. What I'm saying is like
it is very weedy.
There's like there's real information there, and there's absolute bullshit. Like Bob Lazar, for example, UFO brought it up. Bob Lazar, I've met guys like this where one guy I know, and he's like an electronics engineer, smart guy, that can do bottom end electronic stuff like you've never even believe. And he'll start talking to you, and he really ropes you in, and then after a while he'll start talking about some perpetual motion machine or something, and you're going, I think you might be crazy. I think that's what's going on here. Like it takes you a while to like kind of go, what are you saying?
But maybe he's onto something. You never know.
So I'm a bit more with base radiant on this. I think there's more going on.
Nah, man.
I was watching
this guy
something
is straight up crazy. Go ahead.
So there's some. No, I can't. There was this machine that like makes thunderstorms.
Cloud seeding or something.
There's cloud seeding, but this was different, right? So I was listening to this podcast by a guy named Randall Carlson, and he's like been informed that someone's built this energy machine guy, and this guy was like worked for NASA or something, and he's quit his job, he's retired, he's an old man, and he's made this like thing where it's basically a diesel generator or a petroleum generator thing, but you kind of run the exhaust through some sort of like vortex.
Yeah, vortex.
And then back into itself. And then it's like output. It doesn't output any carbon dioxide or anything. It's just like,
right.
Like,
I reckon there's some interesting.
It's much more breathable air. Like the quality is better or something.
And it's super efficient. Like, it's super efficient.
And he's like started like getting like all these weird threats and stuff, and like like it's always like the men in black rock up when you get too close.
Okay, Doz, I've got a good one for you.
Sure.
Brandon Carson's the legend. Yeah.
Holcomb energy device.
Holcomb. Is this like the Albuquerque drive or whatever?
Hang on. It'll be interesting to get your take on this because this is right up your alley. So watch some.
I've seen the Albuquerque drive. Albuquerque thing. Yeah, that was really interesting in terms of like warp drive. But
have a look what this. Have a look what.
Holcomb Energy Systems.
That one will be a good one for you because it is very much in your field of expertise.
Okay, I'll check it out when I get a chance. But
I don't think that link works. Okay. No, we might have given it the. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I'll put it in the chat. But it's some of that stuff. Anyway, that's just like a bit of a rabbit hole that I've been going down lately. So keeps me entertained. Planes can give a discharge and make rain. That's true. Yeah, you can get.
So the big thing that everyone was a conspiracy theorist about was cloud seeding.
Yeah,
and that is legit. Like it's now all coming out that they're doing it.
They're doing it in Dubai, right? Or is it Dubai?
Yeah. I think
that's why apparently that massive storm was that biggest rain weather event. They overdid it. They just went ham on it.
Yeah, all the places are coming out now and admitting that they do it. Yet this was one of the biggest conspiracy theory things was cloud seeding.
Well, the way that I've seen that they do it, that Mick is describing, where they have like an electrostatic charge and then they put it into the clouds. Yeah, I've seen them do that over United Arab Emirates.
I think they use like silver ion particles or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like aluminium or something, like metal powder, and they throw it up in the clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big conspiracy is it's really not healthy for you and yada yada yada.
This comment, so the Joe Rogan interview in the subject was never released. So I think there was a bunch of Joe Rogan streams that were on Rumble or on somewhere else. Maybe it was on Spotify, and they've just been put on YouTube. So I saw the David Grutch thing with Joe Rogan, but that was like, I saw it because it just came out like 3 weeks ago, but that was actually a year old. So, but it hadn't been on YouTube. So no electrical. Yeah, I thought they were electrostatic. Yeah, the ones that I saw were electrostatic. Like they have like a probably like 20 kV, 30 kV sparks that they do. Anyway, we should probably get back to crypto.
The chat is just full of kooks, so we're all in the right place here.
Yeah.
Well, look, there's
right up everyone.
There's a good overlap, I think, with people who are into crypto, right? Who will also distrust the government. Like we distrust banks, and we
come see my energy machine,
and then we distrust government. So it's like, what else has the government, been hiding from us?
A lot.
So, yeah, I think there is a bit of overlap there. Unfortunately, I don't think we can see any links from Red Squirrel there. Maybe we can actually.
That's the YouTube one. That's the YouTube one, isn't it?
Okay, yeah, there you go. I'll check it out later. So I was just we normally at the end of the streams just quickly go through some basically meme coin charts and things. So I'll just do a quick break up in the segment, and then I'll get people to put their tickers in the chat. They want us to quickly look at them. Any ticker really. So let's see what have we got here.
I might bow out at this stage. I was only going to stay on for half an hour, but
okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. We'll race through this anyway. We're probably about to wrap it up, but good to have you on, Jexa.
Yeah, I'll speak soon. I'll try and get in here a little bit more often as well. And
that would be great.
Cool,
man.
Right,
send us some alien links, bro.
Gotcha.
Don't hold them out. Don't hold back.
Oh, you're gonna wish you'd never said that.
I got to clean out my garage. I need someone to listen
to. See you guys.
Cheers, mate. Catch up.
All right.
And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis? Now, get your hands over there.
All right. So yeah, this section is basically looking at shit coins. I mean meme coins. Yeah, that guy, the Democracy Manifest guy died.
Yeah. How important? Aussie legend. The full story was never explained really that well, and I don't understand it, but he was succulent Chinese meal.
That's it. Every time I have a Chinese meal, I have to say that this is a succulent Chinese meal. So he was
dragged out of the restaurant.
Yeah, he was an actor that was enjoying a succulent Chinese meal, and it was a case of mistaken identity, and they thought he was some international fraud sort of thing, and they stormed the restaurant and they dragged him out. But he was he's a beefy guy, right? And I think he was a few sheets to the wind, and he realized he was on camera, and they're trying to put him in the car, and he's just going, oh, nice headlock, sir. I see you're judo well, and all this stuff. And then I just love that line. And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis? How dare you? he starts to how dare you? Starts blaming him as if he was going to do that, but he was the one that suggested it.
Classic.
That's
no, it's all backwards and forwards. Anyway, it's hilarious.
It's classic.
DGen
time. So let's look at some meme coins. Look, I am pretty impartial, so I'm just going to quickly look at let's have a look here. Dick with butt, OMG. HOA.
You said we talked about this last DGen time. Last Friday. Titan-X, right? And you were I was like, there's a big dump coming, right? And I thought Titan-X would dump. It was priced in. You were right. It just went straight up, and this was when everything was going down. The whole market went down, and Titan-X was the only green candle. And so I was so inverse to what actually was going on.
I remember you saying that, and I thought I'll just check it the next day or whatever. And I thought, I wonder what happened with that. And but isn't that funny that we talked about that sometimes these guys they know what's coming ahead of time. I think this must be it. And so everyone sort of thought, if this is the time where the most inflation comes out or whatever the reason is, that everyone expects it to dump, then they'll just pump it and just put everyone offside. And then everyone will go, oh, we're back on. It's the green candle syndrome. Let's FOMO in, and then they'll dump it. Then it'll bleed out. So because the whales, they're just trying to do the opposite of what the crowd thinks sometimes. So you just got to be a little bit careful with that stuff. I noticed that when people started to talk about the Ethereum ETF that the second it launched, it was just going to do like a 2x, and it was the easiest trade of their lives. And I was just going, oh no, these guys got to stop saying shit like that, because if you start thinking that the Ethereum ETF is just going to 2x overnight and that everyone's just going to go instantly to the moon, you know some whales are going to try, or they're going to try and liquidate the longs just to send it down. And that's what I was talking about with that the BTC death cross, and it was like, just because there's a death cross coming doesn't mean it goes down. Like sometimes they might just pump it just to liquidate everyone. So yeah, it's hard to know, you know, when there is market manipulation going on a liquidation scale. But in terms of TA, so this was HOA, and I was sort of saying quite, you know, back in May that it had broken down below the 20 MA. And it's pretty much been in a downtrend ever since. So still hasn't broken out of it. It could be a good buying opportunity. It did have the same wick that every other chart had this week because of that Japanese carry trade. Just, you know, Hart's law just flowed on through Ethereum, through Pulse and into HOA. But I do wonder with some of these things where once Pulse starts to really kick ass, then, you know, maybe HOA will actually, because, you know, if Pulse is leverage on Ethereum and then HOA is leverage on Pulse, it's like you got that double leverage. But yeah, it doesn't work when Ethereum's going down, unfortunately, because you got double leverage on the way.
Yeah. It's like a pendulum on a pendulum. It's like whips double.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so OMG, that was the Trump-based one. That also looks fairly wrecked in terms of, I mean, most stuff in terms of Pulse is, you know, has been going down because Pulse has been going down. Maybe if we just plot it versus Pulse, it's actually kind of been going sideways. But yeah, interesting. There's not a lot of Trump mania flowing onto that, as I would have thought.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it, so there wasn't much.
Oh, OMG, Orange Man Good. Yeah, it's just a Trump themed.
Yeah,
Orange Man
Good meme coin.
Yeah,
Orange Man Good.
That's it. Orange Man Good. Why not? Oh, this is pretty hectic. I don't know what this squiggle TA is here. I had on this Pika chart. I must have been describing damp sinusoids.
Squiggle indicator.
Yeah, I don't know what I was.
There you go.
I think I was just talking about damp sinusoids. Oh no, that wasn't a projection. I was just sort of saying what happens with these impulses where you kind of get this sort of thing that goes down like this.
Processing.
Yeah, it's a very common damp sinusoid you see in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So Pika is also looking a little wrecked, still below the 20 MA. Could be a good buying zone. I think I'm going to have to say this to a lot of charts. I like PulseX. I like the structure of
been doing really well
at the moment.
It's deflating slowly over time as well.
Yeah, the buy and burn has been crazy. I just wanted to quickly look at, say, Pepe on ETH. Let's just look at some like Brett on base. Oh, that's interesting. So I had this random line of support here for Brett. I haven't checked this chart obviously in a while, but look at it just sit on it. Look at that.
Right. Yeah, right.
You can just see all those candles just sitting on that support.
Literally on the pixel.
That's crazy, because these are all in the last week, right? Because these are all daily candles, but still below the 20. So not
goes
really
to show that everyone else is drawing the same line, right?
Yeah, some of these things are self-fulfilling prophecies because you get some line on like the weekly or whatever, and then you see it play out. I don't know why. That might have even been on a monthly or something else, but it seems like there's support there for Pepe and it's bounced. So yeah, look, a lot of them are still pretty wrecked. You got to say, a lot of meme coins. It's almost like we had a meme coin cycle, like a meme coin bubble.
Kind of.
Where they were
I feel like that's all that you can do is release meme coins at the moment. There's nothing like technically sophisticated that you're going to release that is not going to get your head cut off by some regulatory body or.
That is
maybe
the
I'm
advantage.
Wrong, but like,
no, that is the advantage of meme coins is that you can say, well, there's no roadmap. Like it's literally just a picture with a frog on it. But then how long can that last? You know,
not long, a couple minutes sometimes.
Yeah.
Like not long.
A couple of hours max. And then you got sniper bots you've got to consider, especially on Solana.
Yeah. Pre-allocation, ruggable, vulnerable contract. Right, well,
is there any in the chat? I think there was one right at the start that someone had put in. They basically dropped their ticket that they wanted to shill and then left. Was it this guy? At $10 DCA, bro, just
loading up.
A pint
Jeez,
or something.
Those bag sizes.
Don't even bother. It'll cost you $10 in bloody
You get
gas.
destroyed in fees and gas. Yeah, unfortunately. Sorry,
Trump or PP? Yeah, sorry. He's looking at the right ticker. Poor pleb.
Yeah.
$10. Sorry to be callous.
Maybe it's the overtime. Maybe it's not a single DCA. So like event. Maybe he's just got $10. That's what he's got.
True.
And
depends.
Like
maybe
10 every
hour.
Often. Every hour for every hour
of every hour.
If it's once a month, makes 10 more. Yeah.
Then so look, I think he said Trump.
I would go for, if you've got $10, honestly and truly, maybe look at a more long-term looking project than a meme coin. I feel like it's still not great advice for like $10, but
I mean,
just keep it.
No.
You need it.
Just you need that for food, bro. You need to get some tendies for dinner.
You need some tendies.
You need some tendies.
Mega rings.
I think maybe just save you $10. But I mean, because you can put it into one of these things, but there's no guarantees. I mean, most of these are fairly wrecked. I wouldn't mind having a look to see what the actual Trump on not the PulseChain Trump, because that's got I think 1.5 grand worth of liquidity, but the actual Marga one, that's got $5.4 million worth of liquidity and 98% locked liquidity as well. Now this is going down. So maybe because this Trump Jr. guy might be releasing a new project that might become the official Trump thing, that it's taking some shine off this one. But that's just emotional. That's not really that's not what the chart's saying. But the chart is saying downtrend.
Wouldn't it be interesting if this will not happen, and nor is it a prediction of it, but wouldn't it be interesting if Trump did like a Trump sacrifice? Like he just came out and was just like, I'm raising funds, guys. And he just did
pretty much. I think that's what that is. Like these NFTs and all this stuff that these guys do. They're just trying
That's why they're getting liquidated. It's just because he's cashing out. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it might not be him associated with him at all financially. It could just be people who get the name. I don't know.
The way I sort of see it is like you get these presidential election campaigns where they're called the PACs, super PACs and things like that.
Yeah.
And so someone has probably said, we need some serious dollars because they're hundreds of millions of dollars, probably billions of dollars going to these presidential campaigns. They're like, these crypto guys have got a lot of money. Let's just see if we can raise some funds. And probably it's a good thing, because the more that they embrace donations from people in crypto, the more they're going to be sort of sympathetic to the laws that govern crypto, because it's in their financial interest, right?
Yeah, so, you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you in that scenario.
Yeah. And you can tell Trump is coming out saying all the things about a Bitcoin strategic
swinging.
reserve. Yep, he's going to fire Gary Gensler, and the crowd goes wild. All that stuff that he knows that there's votes in it and there's money in it. So yeah, it's nice to be pandered to once in a while.
It may happen. I don't have a crystal ball, but it would be good if him I don't know about RFK because he might have less of a shot than.
Yeah, I think his percentage chances,
because he's being so suppressed. He's being so suppressed on everything. So is Trump, but yeah, it's just the way of the world, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about it. I'm no expert in American politics, that's for sure. I just wanted to pull up. Someone mentioned PDI, and for some reason, the only way I can find this chart is to find the Atropa pair. But look, that looks pretty wrecked, to be honest. This is PDI.
I had a bunch of PDI, and I traded it out for another one, and it wasn't that great. It was even worse than PDI. And I was pretty happy with what I made with PDI, and I was like, I lost it all on it was just like little, not massive trades, but when you get a little pump of some coins you have, and then you're just like, oh, I'll throw this around, and it's like,
yep.
Yeah.
Now you've got to be careful with some of these things. But no, look, it's going down. I haven't put a moving average on it, but you can see the trend is not great. So those guys have been a bit quiet lately, I must admit. So that was high expectations. That was asking about that. Was there any other tickers in the chat, or just people talking about aliens? Good day. Let's look at.
Do good day.
Let's look at good day, because Tom Gillespie was in the chat.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tom. He's a legend.
Yeah.
He had some really interesting insights in that stream that we did with him, where he was talking about the whole tribal nature of crypto, and it'd be good to have him back on. Actually, I really enjoyed that. Good day is wrecked. Sorry, Tom. I think I called this
everything
hard
is
to
everything
him.
is.
I think I called this hard to him on stream, because he was in the chat, and I was just happened to be, because I think True Blue's like a good day whale or something. And I was like, he asked me to check it, and I was like, oh, it's below the 20 MA, and I was like, oh, it could be going down from here. But I call that pretty hard, actually, that's been going down. So my bags, I think I've got some good day there somewhere, so that's probably not looking.
There you go.
Not looking good. Might be able to buy me some tendies, but that's about it.
The tendy fund.
That's it. It's just a separate wallet.
The separate tendies. Yeah. It's denominated in units of tendies.
That's right. How many tendies versus g'day have I got here? Yeah. 43 would know a guy. Oh, hang on. I've missed the start of this joke.
UFO should go
on the crypto convention cruise in November with Cardboard RH. I thought we already did that. Pub crawl in King's Cross. Yep. Watch out for falafels. Yeah, I think these guys are just
what's
having
with
a bit
the
of a laugh.
falafel?
Oh, it's
not.
Don't bother.
You thought you were getting meat, and you got.
I thought I was getting a kebab, and I was.
Yeah,
it was on I was on that cruise all day, and we've been drinking like a German pub, or was it it was a different? Actually, it was the first night we were actually been drinking. Anyway, so suffice to say, we'd been drinking, and then the classic thing around here is that we get kebabs at the end of the night. So
yeah, no, I love a kebab and a good meat box as well.
Yeah, exactly. The halal meat box. What do they call it?
Snapback. They have it. Everyone has a different name, but you know what it is. Like it's the same thing everywhere. I like it with cheese, and you just it's just this greasy meat meal with chips under it.
Yeah. I mean, I just get the straight up kebab personally, normally. So that's what happened there. But then I got tricked into getting a falafel. So, and I never forget. It's like it's just
I can't. Yeah. The old falafel.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Look, I don't think anyone actually gave us any tickets to look out. So maybe we just wrap it up.
GIF. Last one.
Oh, GIF. Okay, cool.
Because this is what I lost everything in. I bought the.
Oh. Oh no!
It's not doing well.
I don't want to point any fingers. Who might have been shooting?
No, it's all my fault.
It wasn't me, man. I stayed clear.
I did the damage. Oh, hey. That is.
You know what?
That is. Oh God.
I distinctly remember talking smack about this. I distinctly I like the guys behind it. I like is it the Gifford guy, a Giffordware guy? And RG3 is a legend in the community, and of course Kool-Aid and stuff. I like these guys. So, but I went early to this, right? So when, this is hard. This is a hard chart.
The old 2 candle chart.
When it was like, when it was like here, people were telling me, "Oh, have you heard about this PGIF thing?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, let me check it out." And then I was like, a day late or whatever, and it just went up.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous, like 200, 300%. I was like, nah, it's going parabolic, like it's a bubble, it's going to burst. And then right around here, everyone was getting me to chart it. And then I think I even just sort of said, like, because it was like, oh, this is just a healthy pullback. And I was like, oh, I don't know. At the very least, there was resistance here. Yeah, that's when I called it. I said, look, it has to get above this, right? And then retest it before I'm like thinking that this is a pullback. And it did not. So that was right around that time that I was, streaming and saying things about it. So, because they were sort of saying, oh, this is just if you zoom in on this is what people were telling me, like here, like this is just a little dip, like let's go.
Yeah.
And I was like maybe it was like halfway through this candle and I'm going, I don't know. And it turns out that's not everything is immune to getting sold down. Like bubbles, you get bubbles and they burst. So which is an interesting comment, because if you look at things, I mean, that's relatively low liquidity. But if you're looking at like Bitcoin, for example, and the largest market cap that going around, it had closed below the 20 MA on the weekly here, and it was not looking good. Then the Trump assassination or attempt, it was basically this 13th of July right here. So it was kind of going down, and then it just got the full reversal. So I was kind of speculating that there may have been some people that were in the know around here. But the charts were certainly saying that it was in a downtrend, and then it pumped up again, and then it did it again. It dropped below the 20 MA before the Japanese carry trade thing, around the 1st of August. So there were ways, the indicators for you to know that, hey, maybe just de-risk a little bit, go into some stables, because we might see some volatility here. And this is the Friday, last Friday. And then from that point, it went down from 64K down to 49K. It's like 23%. So just by putting yourself into stables, de-risking a little bit, and then buying 50K, you get a lot more units. So keeping track of when you go below the 20 MA, when you're on like an uptrend and then closing below, I think it's important, because it's okay now that it's done a big V-shaped recovery and that it's we're back on track and everyone's kind of forgotten about it already. But there will be a time when total 2 market cap's up at like $3 trillion and everything's making new all-time high, that it won't bounce back, and it will be like the end of this cycle. So I think being able to recognize those points of no return and sometimes de-risking is sort of sensible. I know people just like to say hold forever, just if you hold, you're like king, diamond hands.
One day.
Yeah, but you can't hold it all the way down, man. You can't.
No, you're meant to be selling on the way up, even. Not a lot, but a little bit.
Even better. Accept the fact that you're not going to sell the Pico top. Sell a little bit on the way up, or do it through liquidity providing, so that you're V3 or whatever, so you're at least taking profits. Because it comes down to it, like in a year's time or whatever, if it's still pumping and we're into the end of November, December next year, I'm not going to be telling people to sell. So it's like people need to get this into their heads that this is you can't just hold forever. And then of course the flip side of that is that some people will sell too soon and they will miss out on some of the gains. So you have to choose your own adventure.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you have any closing remarks or anything, Base Radio?
I don't think so. Other than I'm potentially looking for work. So anyone,
cool,
hit me up.
Awesome. Yeah, if there's people out there who need because you're like a full stack dev, you can do pretty much anything.
Literally anything. But like there's some things like people ask me what they want, and then I'll meet them halfway with like a better version of what they want. You know what I mean? Like, because people don't really, unless they've run a couple projects before, they don't know what they think they know, but they
and it's different to have like an idea in your head, and then to actually execute it is a lot. There's a lot of steps. It's the detail is where it is different.
Anyway, just any Base Radian. I think it's BASE Radian.
Yeah, you've got BASS, but it's BASE.
Yeah, I didn't look when I made the name. But like the whole base and Radian, there's like other blockchains called that and crap, and I was not researching that. But anyway, we can wrap it up now.
Cool. No dramas. Yeah. Hopefully people can let's talk bribes. Yeah, Fast Abdul needs some devs, no doubt. In the Camel Clan. I was just going to say, last thing. I'm glad UFO liked the paranormal stuff, but we can chat about that as well on maybe a different stream one time. But I just wanted to say my last sort of thoughts going into the weekend was, I've been watching a couple of old Richard Hart streams, and it's really refreshing to go back and to see him sort of the way he looks at the markets and the way that he looks at things, and to realize that many years ago he was on top of liquidity and flash loans and all of these before anyone. And now I understand, but like back then I had no idea, and he knew about all this shit many years ago. So imagine how much he knows now. You know what I mean? If I'm playing catch up on what he knew, 3 years ago, and it starts to make sense now, imagine how far he is advanced of that level. So, I think there's still a lot of time left, and if we're talking about life-changing gains, we're talking about, changing your financial position in life, like that's a pretty big stake to have in it. So, I think it's worth the wait, is I guess what I'm saying. So, stay strong, people. And I think, we could have some good things coming for those who are patient. Awesome. All right. Thanks, chat. Thanks, Replay Gang and Twitter bots. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Have a good weekend. Catch us.